So, welcome to this beautiful full moon in March, and so happy to continue gathering in this way, in this tradition, for so many years now. I think Cynthia said it's really almost 3 decades of gathering on the full moon to empower this practice together in this community. So, I'm going to begin by anchoring us in the tradition and the roots of this practice, this earth treasure vase practice. So it comes to us from Tibet. And in the 8th century, Guru Padmasambhava brought Buddhism to Tibet from India, and during his lifetime revealed a number of practices called termas, including the practice of working with the earth treasure vases as a remedy for healing earth and relieving the suffering in future times of degeneration. And that time is now. And he taught that burying the earth treasure vases can be an antidote and help restore vitality within the essence of the elements in the area around where these vases are placed. And the vases are said to increase wisdom within all beings and to remove the obstacles to long life. And in 1990, Cynthia Jors was invited to travel to Nepal to meet a 106-year-old Buddhist Lama named Kushuk Mangdan, who lived in a cave in Charak, a remote region of Nepal near Mount Everest. The trek took many days, and on her way up the mountain, Cynthia reflected on this opportunity that she had to ask a question of Charak Rinpoche. At this time, she carried a deep concern for the health of Mother Earth and especially wondered how the living systems of the Earth could survive the radioactive waste that was being generated from the production of nuclear weapons. And she knew she had to ask the old wise man, how can we bring healing and protection to life on Earth? And under the direction of Charak Rinpoche and with the help of Lama Tsultrim, these earth treasure vases were crafted with sacred medicines in the monasteries of Nepal. And with the first 30 vases, Cynthia started to distribute them around the world. And later she received 45 more smaller vases that were made at the same time. And we're still, as a community, in the process of dedicating these remaining second generation vases. So we welcome you to this full moon practice where we take the time to focus our attention on these earth treasure vases that have been planted all around the world that form this beautiful web, this mandala of light that we empower and that we send our blessings into as this big embrace around Mother Earth. So thank you for joining us in that. Thank you for being here. And in particular, on this evening, we have a very special focus on the burial and the journey of the vase that was dedicated to the Amazon. And we have two guests here tonight, Allison Fast and Alice Fortes, who are going to share with us a bit about, for instance, Allison stewarded the vase before it was handed off to the elders of the community there. And Alice has been in deep connection with the community there and can share with us about some of the work being done there. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time to say a little bit more about our guests before I welcome them to share. So Allison is an artist and a Vajrayana practitioner based in Los Angeles who has stewarded 2 earth treasure vases with Alliance for the Earth. Allison is a dear friend of mine, and we met many, many years ago at a gathering that was a Women's Dreaming Council that was put together by an organization called Women of Spirit and Faith. And that's when a bond was created for us, for me with Allison. And then years later, she invited me into co-stewardship of the Serpent Mound Vase. And it was through Allison that I was brought into relationship with the Gaia Mandala. And it was Allison's modeling of the circle way of stewarding the vase. And so with the Serpent Mount vase, and we had this circle stewardship and this collaboration, and she just organized that so beautifully. And that's really what has inspired a lot of how I'm supporting the Delphi vase at this time, is as witnessing Allison and modeling that and really appreciating how that went for us. So I'm very happy to be here with her tonight. Allison lived in Brazil for a year and learned of Benki and Moises through the Manitou Foundation, who has sponsored their work for decades. And she made contact with Benki at the second meeting of the Peoples of the Forest in Brasilia in 2008. And she passed the Earth Treasure Vase to him in June of 2022? Yeah, okay, so it's mainly at the Elders Gathering in California. And in turn, he passed it to Moises, who entered it into the earth at the site of the Ashaninka spiritual portal. And she's joining us with Alice Fortes. And Alice received her Master's of Arts in interdisciplinary studies with a focus on anthropology and forest science and the arts from the University of British Columbia in Canada. And she's been working with the indigenous communities in the Brazilian Amazon for 15 years. The first time she was at the, and I'm not, you have to let me know how to pronounce the village name.
Apiúcha.
Yeah, Kucha, was in 2004. And throughout those years, she delved deeper into the understanding of the Ashaninka culture and traditions. And for her master's degree, she spent over 3 months in the forest learning directly from Moises, the spiritual leader of that community. Her studies focus on the relationship between culture and land stewardship, looking specifically at how the Ashaninka traditional spiritual practices inform their sense of the natural world. And her research analyzes the relationship between the practical response of the Ashaninka as they revitalize their lands and the surrounding area today, and the ancient dictates of culture, spirituality, and conviction kept alive through their spiritual shamanic practices. So I'm going to open it up for the two of you to share, and then we'll transition after that. So Allison, I'll hand it off to you.
Thanks, Nicole. So the Earth Treasure Vase, as Nicole mentioned, was dedicated in late of 2019. And as she mentioned, I had heard of Benki and Moises, who are brothers, they're chiefs, the Ashaninka tribe. I had heard of them and the power of their work. And that had been through the Manitou Foundation, who supported them for several decades. And when I got to meet Benki, one of those leaders, in person, I was so blown away by his vision, because his consciousness went so far beyond his own village and really embraced the idea of the healing of our planet. And he had such a comprehensive sense of compassion for not only his own people, but for all tribes of the Amazon, for conceiving of ways, cultural ways and economic ways that were so revolutionary for his time. And he was able to bridge worlds in a way that I hadn't witnessed before amongst, amongst those indigenous communities. So I was immediately, drawn to the possibility of passing the vase to them when it was dedicated. And it just fell into place that Alice became the perfect liaison for us to communicate with Moises and with Benki. The vase was passed to Benki in June of this last year when he landed in California for an elders gathering. And from there, he was able to steward it back to his brother. And the destination for that vase became the Ashaninka spiritual portal, which is an actual site that Moises envisioned, the brother Moises envisioned to help to train young shaman and others in the knowledge of the forest. And I felt that it was really important to honor both the tree planting and vision that Benki holds for the Ashaninka, because that's so important to be planting the trees, to be tending to the ecology. But I also felt it was very, very important to honor the vision of his brother, Moises, who is saving the sacred knowledge of the forest, because it's something we don't talk about as much. But every time a leader in the Amazon is felled, like the trees are felled, also the Amazon leaders in the Amazon are being targeted, we lose intergenerational knowledge that stretches back as far as the trees themselves, you know? So it feels so important to have this site that is going to be for the continuity of that knowledge and to help us to continue to know the bird songs and the ways to relate and work with medicines of the deep forest. So the Ashaninka spiritual portal is that space, and it's entirely unique in the way that it's conceived and in the way that it's being built and held by the Ashaninka. And that became the place where this vase is buried. So it's really appropriate too that Alice is here to help us to maybe envision a little bit more what is the importance of this site and how is it situated. And that way, when we're going through our meditation tonight, we can really align our intentions with the site, with Moises, who is there now holding the space with us this evening. And she'll even transmit a message that Moises has sent specific to our community this evening. So with that, I will turn to Alice and thank her so much for her service to this community and helping us to create this very unique bridge to Moises, who's very deep in the Amazon and very, very pure in his intention and in his spiritual devotion to the earth.
Thank you, Alison, and good evening, everyone. So my name is Alice, that's how we pronounce it. I'm Brazilian, and I've been very close to the Ashaninka for many years. And as Nicole has mentioned, especially with my master's, I got to really dive deeper, into their knowledge and their studies, their spiritual studies. So the idea was to show a video of Moises that he recorded for us all from the forest, but the forest has that kind of thing. The internet is terrible, so the only way we got this video was like in little tiny pieces and bits, so it was very hard to show it here as a whole thing, unfortunately. But you can definitely imagine him on his beautiful kujma with a red cloth over here and his headdress that's very particular of the Ashaninka. Wait a second. Let's bring the presence at least of the headdress. I'm not gonna wear it but you know, then we have that presence here as well. And I helped translate the video, what he was telling you as his message. trying to contextualize a little bit of the project, let's call it a project, but it's a live project really, of the Ashaninka spiritual portal. So I thought, if that's okay with Alison and Nicole, to read through what he told us through the videos that we couldn't really see. And then I can talk a little bit more about how the place it is, like how I feel it, or whatever, like Alison can help, or Nicole can guide me also on what would be of interest for me to talk about a little bit, since we also don't have that much time before we can just focus on meditation and good energies for that, all of that. So without further delay, I did translate it as similar as possible to the way he speaks. So there is a bit of repetition and stuff like that, but you know that that's just to kind of try to keep it just the way he did. So he says, "Good evening, everyone. I come here to talk a little about the story of our spiritual world. This work of the spiritual world within our forest, where we live, the importance of it. For us, it is very respected and highly valued. Our story says that without a spiritual world, we cannot live. We pass by, but we do not live. So for us, it is very clear that we have two different worlds, the physical one and the spiritual one. And there are very few who are able to find the spiritual world. Most live only the material life. We have this story of always keeping in our culture, as we say, another world, invisible, which is the spiritual one. And here, within a necessity, I saw that our community needed a place like the portal. Within the work that I do spiritually, I received a call. It showed me a place to work in our spiritual world here in Apiucha. So this place, I'm working on it. We name it the Ashaninka Spiritual Portal, where we work with the spiritual energies of the Ashaninka spiritual world and allow this to pass on to our children and to continue within our history. We must keep it alive. So this place was chosen, and it is a very important place for us in our lives and in all our work to give continuity to our people. It is not just a spiritual world, it is a whole school for our indigenous and non-indigenous worlds. The world that lives in the forest. Everything from animals, birds, and all the energies we need to survive. And today, I feel this responsibility to pass this on to the young people and to really place this world and this knowledge within this ambience that we live in. And I am delighted with this recognition and that people got to know a little about the spiritual center of Apiucha. That trust, right? I'm talking about the sacred vase, about this place being chosen for one of these vases within the spiritual force, within the care we have with all of nature. This, for me, is a huge thing because our planet really needs unification, even if it is in this spiritual world, so that it may join and strengthen many energies that are being taken from the earth, many energies that are being destroyed. And the earth is getting weak, and the earth, this energy of the earth, doesn't want to give a response. It has the strength to do so, but it's enduring all this. It's waiting for those who can understand who she is, to be able to unify and strengthen the continuity of the lives of all beings. We see the entire Amazon today, how it's being destroyed. We see all the indigenous peoples with all their wisdom, their science, who are there, ignored by everyone, and who are being destroyed or being decimated. We have a lot to help, but we also need to be understood so that this can be the unification that will give us the life and light we need on this planet. But it's tough. I hope that this spiritual unification we've been working on can touch the minds. That's my thought, that this spiritual world can touch the minds of other people who have not stopped to look, to feel what nature is, who live without understanding what living is. Because without this universe, no one lives. And it is not other people who are doing it. It is not the creator who is doing it. It is the humans who are doing this to nature. Thank you very much for this trust. Today we have this new government that just entered. I hope that with this thought, blessed by God, it can bring a very positive result to Mother Nature, which is in need. Because the other president who left was very difficult for us. It was challenging. We thought life wasn't going to last long, but we still have hope. Our hope of living never ended because while we see a tree and some birds singing to us, we are living. Now, when this is over, then we don't live anymore. When the birds are not singing and the tree is no longer there. And that strength is a hope, not just for my people and myself, and not just for all the other peoples who are being destroyed and slaughtered, but for all beings on this planet who need that energy, that peace, that love, so that we can unify an alliance that will give a signal to power, Zashaninka deity, and to us here on Earth for continuity. Thank you very much. And then the person who was filming him made him a question, asked, is the Amazon the center of the world? And his answer was, I don't know if it is the center of the world, but the Amazon in our world, as we see it, I don't know if I can say what the Amazon is, but I can say that the forest, yes, the forest is the center of everyone's life. Without this forest, no one will live. Yes, one can live, but they won't have a pleasant life, a peaceful life, like the one we have here in the forest. The response I say that nature has to give is powerful. No one resists. Today, it is happening there, these phenomena that have been destroying the big cities, rain that is killing people, places that are dry, on fire, everything is unbalanced. It isn't the creator who is throwing it out of balance. Those who are unbalancing it are those that he, the creator, left here on this planet as responsible for taking care of the planet. So what I can say is that without this forest, nobody has water and nobody has pure air to breathe. And if nobody has these two things primarily, I don't know who can live, because we can't live without them. So that was his message for all of us. And now that I'm reading it again, I can already think about a few things that would be nice to share with you to deepen a bit the understanding of his words. And I guess there would be two things. One is that there is indeed a dark side happening of destruction. Moisés and Benki are both also artists, painters. They have beautiful paintings. And I remember once seeing one of Moisés' paintings, and it was a beautiful one, but there was a part of it that was really dark and kind of, you know, not so nice in that sense. And I was like, well, Benki, but I mean, Moisés, but you know, such beautiful light in the forest. Why do you have this? And he's like, oh, you don't want to see, right, Alice? But it's happening, you know, this is happening too, and we have to see and to know. So that was a lesson for me, and I think that's part of what's portrayed here on his speech. And then the other thing, which I learned when I deepened my studies with him, is the part when he says, you know, that they thought for a moment that life would not exist for much longer, but that at the same time, while there's the tree and there are the birds singing for them, then they know that there is hope and that life exists. So for them, for the Ashaninka, indeed, there are the spiritual world and the physical world, and they are kind of parallel, but interconnected. So the spiritual enchanted, as they call enchanted beings, live in the forest, and they are so in the beginning of times, when Pawa, which is their deity, created the earth, he transformed many Ashaninka people into different animals, especially birds. So sometimes when they're listening to a bird or another, for them, it's bringing messages for them. And the whole spiritual knowledge, the deep knowledge that they have spiritually, he says that it's carried out through these enchanted beings that live in the forest. And that's just one of the reasons why the forest is so important, and why he says that while the birds are there singing and the trees are there, he knows there's hope for life, because he knows that the spiritual force is still here on earth. Because he even says, like, if worse comes to worse, what will happen is that the Ashaninka people will be enchanted again into those enchanted beings and live only in the spiritual world. However, the physical world is the one that's being more endangered. But it's all connected. So those enchanted spiritual beings, they live in the forest. They are there. They are invisible, but they are there. They are invisible for our naked eyes, but they are visible through their spiritual rituals, and especially through the shamans. So that's what I wanted to just add to the text that I just read. And then, I don't know, Alison, should I describe a little bit of the portal, like physically?
Well, maybe just very, very briefly, like just what the function of the Ashaninka spiritual portal is. That in my understanding, it maintains that connection to the invisible world. Yes, like what happens there, what his vision is for why is that a solution from his lens? We always want to know how we can help here, right?
Yeah, so the Ashaninka spiritual portal, as he mentions, was something that he received through ayahuasca ceremonies. He had received many times this call that he had to start a place where this knowledge could be studied deeper and passed on through generations or in between generations. And eventually he even received where this place would be located, which is around 1 hour further up the river, passing the village of Apiucha. And it's a bit higher, so when you get up there, not a lot higher, but everything is very plain on the lowlands of the Amazon there. And then there, when you get to the top there, you can really kind of see this sea of forest, like this big horizon. And that's a place for them to really connect to this spiritual life. And it took me a little while to understand that, because when I go to the forest and to the village, for me, that's such a sanctuary. It seems like an ashram. So it almost does not make sense. Why do you need like another place? This is already like, you know, an ashram. But I do not live there, right? So then I started understanding that for the community itself, the village is their day-to-day life. They have their husband or their wife, their kids, everything, all the dynamic of things. So this other space is really entirely dedicated to the spirituality, to the spiritual life. And also Moisés particularly has this, I don't know if to call it worrisome, but like to make sure that the younger generation keeps connected and gets to have this deeper understanding, because technology is arriving and they have very bad signal in the forest, but they do have a Wi-Fi that sometimes work a little bit. And the young ones, they love their mobiles whenever they can. And that's good too, you know, it's part of the times, but it's not about prohibiting that, but it's about making sure that the connection to ancestrality and to the roots and to this deep ancestral spiritual knowledge will go on and will give continuity, because that's really what will make sure that the people itself will have the continuity that they need and deserve. So this place is really a place where people from the Ashaninka people, from the community, they can go to deepen their studies, to do what we would call retreats, let's say. And as I said, for having more experienced older shamans exchange with the younger generation. He even sometimes also received people from Peru, because they are right at the border. Most Ashaninka people live in Peru, not in Brazil. So this is just like a very sacred land that he's taking care of as a steward, like completely. So he also, like, there's a whole area around the center where no one can hunt, for instance, or be felling trees. It's really a place that is sacred, that he received, he envisioned, that he knows that the forest spirit is strong there, and he is stewarding it, taking care of it. Because also, as he mentions a bit on his talk here, for them, Paua lived here with them in the Ashaninka world, but then he went to the sky, let's say, and when he went up there, he left his Ashaninka kids down here to take care of the planet. So on their understanding, our mission as humans is to be stewards of the land, is to take care of Mother Earth, is to take care of the planet. And so that's really the big mission of the portal. I know we have
That's
little
perfect.
time, so maybe that's good.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So I just want to mention that the Alliance for the Earth will be supporting with a one-time donation. We'll be able to send some funding over to Moises, thanks to Claire Dubois and Tree Sisters and Cynthia's activity leading up to this. And if anyone does want to feel called to support in any way, we'll be sending that one-time donation towards them. And it's a very unique bridge that we have deep into the heart of the Queen of that forest to be able to support and nourish this dream. So Cynthia will put that in the chat a little bit later. And with that, I think we'll transition. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just want to say that Moises appreciates and thanks all of you as well, not only for the donation, but mostly for the trust of having him steward this phase. And I hope one day you can go there, if not physically in person, perhaps through meditation. I'm sure you can reach it. It's a beautiful spot that he's been taking care through personal effort and through everyone that feels connected in this big network that we all have. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we transition to the meditation, Alice, did you want to say anything specific? Alice? Okay. Did you want to say anything specific about where the vase is buried or anything about the burial before we move on to the meditation, just briefly?
Sure. One thing I can say, I mean, I haven't seen where it was buried myself, except that I know that it's within the lens of the portal, the spiritual portal. And there is a specific place in the center of the portal where they do the ayahuasca ceremony, which was the most sacred medicine, plant medicine for them. And all the times that I did ceremony there, Moises always sits facing east. In fact, he has built a little place for the ceremony that's kind of an arrow shape that points towards the east. And he likes to point towards the east, facing the east. And when he chants, and that's what I understood as well, he doesn't just sit there to face, but to chant to the east. And he even showed me that during a ceremony, how when he chants to that direction, his voice echoes. And it's amazing, it's true. I mean, I can only say to you that it really happens. And he explained to me that he buried the vase to the east, to the direction of the east, to where the sun comes. So that's what maybe I wanted to share about how the vase is now there.
Thank you. Thank you. So Rasul, did you make it here?
I am here with you.
Ah, beautiful. Are you ready to transition us?
I am.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we're going to enter into the global healing meditation. So we invite you to go ahead and turn your videos off if sometimes that feels a little bit more comfortable to enter in. And then when we're complete, then we can turn them back on and come back together.
At this time, I welcome us to, for a moment, continue to receive everything that we have just gathered. The profound mission, this collective vision that we share and that we are in service to at this time. Connecting with the portal. By continuing to arrive. Beginning to settle into the meditation by taking a few deep breaths. Breathing in. And breathing out. Deep and slow. With every breath, feeling our bodies settle. Our mind relax upon the breath and its natural pace at this moment. Sensing the ground beneath us, holding us, offering stability and calm. Arriving here fully. And beginning to feel our roots reaching deep down into the earth. As we breathe in her nourishment through our taproot, her life force, the life force of our Mother Earth entering us at this time. As we open and allow to receive her generous nourishment. Allowing thoughts of the past and concerns for the future melt away at this time. Resting into this precious moment as we sit in deep communion with the stabilizing, the strengthening, the nourishing energies of Mother Earth. And from this place of being deeply rooted and grounded, we open to the light above, feeling the warmth upon us from the dance of the spheres, from the celestial bodies of the sun, the moon, the stars glistening. Feeling the space between us expand as we connect with the vast energies of the cosmos. Rooted below, connected above. Together in this present moment. Breathing. And now, let's feel our connectedness to the special place where we sit upon the planet right now. Let us recognize our relationship to the soils, the stones, the waterways, the forests, the flowers, the communities of life who call the same habitat their home, like us, and who also receive stability and nourishment from Gaia, from our mother, and the warmth of the sun and moon, just like us. In this present moment, in this special place, we acknowledge those who have come before. We acknowledge the ancestors of the original indigenous peoples of the lands we inhabit, who have been in sacred correspondence with these lands for countless generations. We acknowledge the future ancestors of this land as well, who will continue to hold this land, to steward this land, to tend it as sacred for countless generations to come. And we humbly invite all of them to collaborate with us at this time, to bless us and our practice in this present moment. Let us call upon all of our sources of inspiration at this time. Our own able ancestors, elders, teachers, and guides, lineage masters, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dakas, and Dakinis, wisdom beings that we feel connected to, and invite them all to be present for this meditation. Let us receive the blessing of their love, of their support, guidance, healing, and clarity. As this blessing enters us, let us feel the love and caring coming all the way into our deepest heart of hearts. And let us breathe it in. And breathing out, let us send these blessings, this love, to everyone who is present in this circle. As we continue to receive, breathing in the love that is being sent, and breathing out, sending like the ebb and flow of gentle tides, washing blessings amongst us in this circle. Gradually expanding our focus to include all of our friends, our family, and community, and all of those who this practice may serve. Let us imagine our circle gradually growing from our home, neighborhood, bioregion, country, and continent, to include all beings in all places everywhere, embracing the whole planet with our love. And breathing in and breathing out, sending these blessings coursing throughout the entire face of Gaia. And now, with this feeling of rootedness below, an expansion above, as waves of love flowing from our hearts, let us turn our awareness to those who are suffering, the places where there is war, poverty, disease, pollution, droughts, or floods, and fires. Wherever there is the need for healing, wherever the need is great. And let us breathe in this suffering, holding our breath for one moment in all-encompassing space. And then breathing out, let us send our love and carrying the healing that is needed to relieve the suffering of the earth, her people, and all of life, all around the whole planet. Let us imagine that where there is hunger, great nourishing gardens begin to grow. Where there is thirst, fresh, clean waterways spring up. Where there are unhoused, safe shelters are built. Where there is war and conflict, dialogue begins, activating choirs of peace echoing in the hills. Listening. Where there is sickness, vital health is celebrated. And aware of where the earth is unstable, in danger or out of balance in any way, let us imagine a restoration of balanced power, bringing protection and regeneration, as we hear the song lines of the land sing in great harmonies. Now let us see the generosity and the reciprocity in communities of life flowing freely, seeing the beauty and riches of nature flowering into abundance for the sustenance of life, revitalizing this radiant blue-green planet we call home. As we hold this glowing vision of Mother Earth and ourselves in correspondence, we call into our awareness the presence of the earth treasure vases that have been planted or are in the process of being planted all around the world. Let us imagine that together we are pouring our love and caring in the form of light into each and every little clay pot buried in the body of our mother, filling each vase with our deepest prayers and blessings for healing. Let us imagine each earth treasure vase receiving of our love and of our caring, radiating this light and the light that they hold in every direction, sending healing and protective energies wherever it is needed, in whatever form it is needed. Let us see the light like a rainbow streaming forth from each of the vases. White, yellow, red, blue, green, and all the colors in between. And breathing in and out, allow the feeling of caring and compassion in our heart of hearts to grow. For our brothers and sisters all across Gaia, for our mother, let us send out this love in the form of light to all the people, animals, plants, and places connected through the vases. Calling forth healing and protection in the past, in the present, and in the future. Beginning at the center of the Earth Treasure Vase Global Healing Mandala in a cave above Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, the birthplace of the atomic bomb. And to the north, at the source of the Rio Grande River in Creede, Colorado. To the south, at the mouth of the Rio Grande at the Gulf of Mexico. To the east, on top of Mount Baldy, above Santa Fe. And to the west, on Mount Chicomo, known as Tikumu, to the Tewa people of New Mexico, the custodians of the sacred lands where this mandala began. And now, having established the center and the four directions, let us see the mandala growing in every direction. To the Indian Point Nuclear Reservation on the Hudson River in New York, to the headwaters of old-growth redwood red forest in Northern California, the Punta Cometa on the coast of Oaxaca, Mexico, Vilcabamba, Ecuador, Jacoba, Kosovo, the Lawrence Laboratory at the University of California, Berkeley, the Dao Dum Forest on the border of Thailand and Burma, the village of Ein Karim in Israel, Palestine, Hiroshima, Japan, the cloisters in New York City after 9/11, the Biosphere 2 in Oracle, Arizona, the Martin Luther King Freedom Center in Oakland, California, the source of the Ganges in India, the source of the Amazon in Peru, the Southern Pacific Ocean, 93 degrees down in Igom Atoll, the Trobriand Islands, Papua New Guinea, the Arctic Circle, Alaska, the Kogi lands of the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, Colombia, Telowayan Village, Lofa County, Boinjama District, Liberia, West Africa, the Blythe River Canyon, Limpopo Province, South Africa, the Giza Plateau, Egypt, Haleakala, Maui, Hawaii, the Itombwe Forest, South Kivu Province, Democratic Republic of Congo, Avebury, England, Vindaloo, Jawan Country, Catherine, Northern Territory, Australia, and the second generation of Earth Treasure vases in Gabermong, Armland, Australia, the Mackenzie King Park, Ottawa River Valley, Ottawa Gatineau, Canada, the original garden in Findhorn, Scotland, the Great Stupa of Buddhanath, Kathmandu, Nepal, the Flint Hills of Kansas in the heartland of America, the Santa Cruz Mountains near Silicon Valley, California, the Valles Caldera of northern New Mexico, Punululu Bungo Bungles, the Kimberleys, Australia. The village of Utqiagvik at the edge of the sea in northernmost Arctic Alaska. The Hanford Nuclear Reservation on shores of the Columbia River in the state of Washington. Mount Ryosen above Fukushima, Japan. Back to where it all began at the cave hermitage of Shadok, Nepal. To Margibi County, Liberia. In the base of an old ironbark tree on Dithiul Mountain in the Budawang wilderness of Walbanja country, Yuin Nation, southeastern Australia. And to our root temple, Tolu Gompa, in Nepal. The Munzur Valley in Turkey, Serpent Mound in Ohio, the Ashaninka spiritual portal, Campa do Rio Amonea indigenous land, Amazon forest in Brazil. In the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. The Arhuaco lands in the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, Colombia. On the inner rim of the Akaroa volcano in Te Wapunamu, South Island, Aotearoa, New Zealand. And the third generation of Earth Treasure Vases. In Antarctica, the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, Scotland, the Saugatuck Dunes on Lake Michigan in the USA, and to the Highwood Valley in the Canadian Rockies in Alberta, Canada. Southeastern Turtle Island, US, Chaconahay, Tennessee. On the shores of Lake Washington in Kirkland, Washington, close to the first COVID hotspot in the USA. And now we turn our attention to the 25 second and third generation vases that have been dedicated and are currently in the hands of their stewards, gathering prayers and offerings. And the 11 second generation vases, still awaiting their dedication, sitting with the mother vase on the altar. Once again, let us take a deep, slow in-breath. And a deep, slow out-breath. Imagining all that is needed to relieve the suffering of the earth can be seen as light, radiating out from each of the earth treasure vases, all around the whole planet, in every direction. Once again, let us imagine this healing light flowing out from the vases, filling the whole global earth treasure vase mandala with the powerful energies of our love and caring. Seeing this healing force traveling through the song lines and meridians of the earth, flowing into each location on the global mandala. Let us see the mandala like a web of light, embracing the whole planet. Let us feel the light flowing back and forth like waves from our heart to the earth treasure vases, energizing them and adding vitality and brilliance to the light that is then flowing out to the whole area in the sphere of influence of each vase. And now, let us imagine this light flowing into our own location, our special spot in nature, and feel the collective spiritual intelligence of the entire global Earth Treasure Vase Mandala activating our node on the global healing mandala and entering us as a holy vessel. And finally, Let us focus our concentration one-pointedly on bringing healing and protection to the whole earth for all time. Let us see the healing and protection radiating out from all of the vases around the earth in waves of light flowing back and forth endlessly. And let us imagine that the healing is accomplished and the vitality of the earth is completely restored. And now, recognizing the great interconnected web that is life on earth, of which we are each a part, let us give thanks for this precious sacred time and pray that the compassion and peace that is our true condition may bring supreme happiness and benefit to the earth and to all beings. With another deep, slow in-breath and deep, slow out-breath, let us bring our awareness back to our body, feeling our feet on the floor, grounded on the earth, in our own location, wiggling our toes and gently opening our eyes and returning to the circle for sharing.
Welcome, welcome back. We're gonna gather together, and this is an opportunity to give your offerings, your prayers, your blessings towards this Amazon Earth Treasure Vase. The time of burial of this vase was kind of quiet, and it was in October, and there were a lot of vases at that time that we were able to give our attention to. So this is an opportunity to still slow ourselves down, reconnect, and circle back to this vase. So just an invitation to offer your prayers in that direction, also knowing Vase is in ceremony now with us down there holding the space. And so just offering up our own hearts into a conscious awareness of that connectedness and this unification that he spoke of, and empowering that tonight in our prayers together. So you can either raise your hand you can raise your hand through the hand raising thing through Zoom, or kind of go like this if you haven't figured that out, and Russell and I will call on folks. Yeah, and then you can unmute yourself.
Go ahead, Susan. Welcome.
Hi. So I was just so touched by that. And this week, I feel like I kind of got a sign. They were talking, Elisa, or I can't remember how exactly to say her name, Alicia, was talking about how the birds are connected as a sign. And on Monday, I have been reading the Gaia Codex, and just like I feel like all the energy that we send out, we're all really connected. And so I was in the backyard anyway, and I heard all these birds, but I didn't see them. And so then birds came in from the east, which she was saying it's where the rising sun is. So I kind of connect that, the east. And then birds came in from the west, and birds came in from the south, and they flew over my backyard, like in a clockwise circle. And then they headed off to the north, like as a group. And I kind of took that as a sign of everyone coming together from the different directions and heading off to the north, which I kind of consider the place of the elders and the knowledge. So I'm offering that we have come together and in a good way, and that we are gathering together our combined knowledge and wisdom and use it in a good way to help us better the earth. So it's my offering to the vase, our combined wisdom and love.
Thank you, Susan. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Thank you all. I want to thank you, Nicole, Rasul, Allison, Alisi, for holding this very, very special meditation tonight. I'm so moved. I'm so moved by the planting of this particular vase. Each one that we bury in the earth in this mandala is contributing so much. And this particular vase feels like it is contributing more than anything for the restoration and the balance and harmony of all the living systems of the earth, as Alisi so beautifully described Moises' words, for the spiritual portal that we have managed through all of our prayers for all of this time to get a vase into the Amazon, that it would go there, being stewarded by this community who is dedicating their efforts to passing on the wisdom of the forest to the world, and to including not just their own people, but all peoples. And this intergenerational effort, I couldn't help but feel encouraged when I knew that the vase had been buried in October. And then the government of Brazil changed. And the commitment to protecting the Amazon in Brazil, and I know that the Ashaninka are in both Brazil and Peru. This part of the world goes beyond political boundaries. But my prayer tonight is for us all to support the protection and the restoration of the ecosystems in the Amazon that are being so profoundly stewarded by the Ashaninka and all of those who care for the health and the survival and the flourishing of life on earth. I'm so grateful, and I pray that, Alisi, you may relay our message to Moises and Benki, our gratitude for your response to our offering, that you have joined us in this mandala, and we will do everything we can to continue to send our spiritual support to you for what you are doing there. Thank you.
Welcome, Mimi. And thank you, Cynthia. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you so much for this beautiful meditation and all the story of the vase. I was very touched by the explanation of how the Ashanika spiritual portal works, and how he said that if we're not connected to our spiritual source, we're not living. And the blessing that I want to place here is that reverberates into all of us as individuals and as communities, so that we connect to our spiritual source and bring that about into our life in this planet. Yeah, what a beautiful, and the fact that it exists as a physical portal. I found it so beautiful. So that's the blessing. Thank you.
May it be so. Thank you, Mimi. Go ahead, Judith.
Thank you, Rasul. Hello, everyone. I am moved tonight listening to these beautiful stories and thinking of the forest. And of all the times I've been on these calls, my cats have never been particularly interested, but tonight they are. They're right here. And it made me want to offer a blessing into this space and then all the way through the mandala of the animal knowing that we all know in our hearts, the animals who also want to see the restoration of our planet and that bring a particular kind of love and vibration to the entire mandala. So Tully and Maeve joined me in sending that through all of the song lines, all of the connections of the beautiful web of the Gaia Mandala.
Thank you. I wish to share. I wish to highlight how special it is, the aperture of Indigenous elders, those wisdom keepers that are maintaining communication with the elemental forces of the land, of Gaia, and that are mediating for us, that are calling forth for compassion, for listening, for an awakening of a full sense of belonging for all human beings upon Gaia, for us to awaken our interdependence, to our interdependence. I wish to bless the lives of each of these elders, of the Ashaninka elders, of Benki and of Moises, of all of the Kogi elders, of the Tewa elders, of the variety of elders that have continued to open their heart, not because they ignore the history of our collective colonization in a way, but because they have recognized it, because they have lived through it and are in turn beckoned to welcome us younger brothers and sisters to be able to respond to these times. And I felt the presence of macaws. They have been alive in my surroundings. I have been seeing them, and so I call for the strengthening of what we did this evening, a continual strengthening of the revitalization of the earth through our awareness and also through our actions. to bring forth environments to beings, to our brothers and sisters, the macaws, to all of the birds that spread seed and widen the forest floor. Thank you. Go ahead, Laurelyn.
Oh, good evening, and thank you so much for everyone being in the circle, for the beautiful words of the meditation, the guidance of everyone here, and the beautiful music of the didgeridoo. And my prayers to offer to this vase are that through that portal, there's a special medicine that can dissolve anything that is obstructing the hearts of those who are working in any capacity with the extractive industries from understanding nature and the message and love that Gaia has. Anything that is obscuring their minds and their hearts from understanding how important it is to know that each and every being in all the kingdoms are part of a whole that they can nurture instead of devour. Thank you so much for us seeing many beautiful examples of this surprising and delighting us all over in the Amazon and everywhere, as more and more humans wake up and have the nightmare of separation swept away and the love enter their hearts. Homatapyasi, Inui Magana.
Thank you, Laurelyn. Come on in, Caraway Seed.
Hello, thank you so much. It was such a beautiful meditation, and the story is so beautiful. What I really felt during the meditation was really that for the first time that I've been here, the rainbow light really coming into my body and into my local space here, into my local environment. Like it just was much more real to me today. And I think something about the power of the elders of Moises's words about the unification and the interconnection brought it really all the way here into my body and into my surrounding. And I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, the prayer I want to give is really that spread to everyone, and that this awareness of the interconnection and our interdependence with the Amazon forest in particular become part of our local and daily reality and awareness. And I also felt that during the music, the didgeridoo, it felt like a wake up, like a cobwebs clearing from the eyes, sort of a feeling of shaking off like a unawareness or a fog. And yeah, that's my prayer I want to put in, that this awareness just permeate all of our beings and all beings, so that we feel our interconnection right in our beings. Thank you. And can act accordingly.
Thank you. Wendy.
Let there be light, and there is light. I don't have a lot of words because I can't think of any words right now that will do justice to what I've heard here tonight, what I have moreover felt right in my solar plexus throughout this. I mean, a beautiful feeling, but just the kausai, the vitality, and something beyond just hope or faith. You know, I think of the Amazon and Razzle, the macaws. too, and the vibrancy and their magic. But the plant medicines and Madre Ayu and the vision of Madre Ayu, and this is what I'm feeling, is there is a knowing from all the elders involved with this and all the elders around the world who want the same thing. We are on that same path. And the visionaries and the dreams, and Madre Ayu is the sacred, vine plant, mother of the vine, to make this happen, because it will. I'm not going to just hope this. I'm not just going to have faith and trust in this. In listening here tonight, it is. It is. That is the vision. That is what is in that vase. And it will be. And that is what I am feeling. I thank you. Blessings.
Go ahead, Julian. And Sophie, welcome. Here, let me unmute you, or let us have you unmute yourself. I just realized I can't do that.
Thank you. I've touched my heart so deeply this evening. Plants and the animals and the trees, so sacred, and as Cynthia said, such an important vase. And I've just written a little prayer for the Amazon, so if I may read that. May the energies that drive global systems to create and perpetuate inequality, suffering, desperation, and destruction dissolve and transform, and be replaced with the new ideas, energies, and concepts that can be actioned into positive and constructive systems that promote equality, peace, and protection of all that is precious and sacred to our collective heart. May this process be protected and supported. May she be protected, nurtured, and restored.
Yeah, and I'll my prayer for this vase is that all these incredible spiritual beings of the forest and of the spiritual world communicate to those who can make a difference, to those in positions of power to protect and safeguard the future of the forests for all time, to really recognize that its incredible value and its incredible sacred power that is supporting all life, so that those beings may receive a message perfect for them, to help them, and to help us all support in all the ways that we can. And yeah, just a huge amount of gratitude and for the spiritual elders of the forests, the Ashwaninka, and for Alison and her dedication, and Elisa, and all the elders that are holding this this vision of sacred relationship, and that made me realise we had a huge breakthrough here in on Noongar country, where finally, after so many years of trying to protect the forests, finally that the old growth forests would be protected, you know, forever. And it was such a long challenge, but it's come to our lands here. There's still a lot of more work to be done to ensure that that really holds firm, but there was a massive breakthrough in the last couple of years here. So we're asking for all that spirit of what's possible to really hold the vision that all of these prayers that we're all holding come into full power and full manifestation. Thank you.
Go ahead, Allison, and thank you, Julian and Sophie. May that be so.
I just would like to offer into the vase a prayer for the depths of guardianship that we each feel to be activated, particularly in the face of such monumental challenges. And what really inspired me and inspires me about this vase is see what it ignites in my own heart, the depth of that guardianship. It's like that mother protective energy, and to witness how fully and deeply that begins to express and take root. And witnessing that in Moises and Benki as well, the depths of their dedication and vision to extend into future generations, so well beyond their own sphere and lifetimes. So may it be so. May our guardianship, the breadth and depth of it, increase, and may that form a net of love and care and miracles.
Thank you, Allison. Yeah, for all you've done to bring this forth into being and for your prayer. Thank you. And Maggie and Eva.
Oh, how deeply moving, dear hearts. I didn't know, and I still don't know if I can speak with the depth of movement that is there, but sort of the tears are flowing, but they're tears of all sorts. There's certainly the tears of the fallen trees, you know, of the falling elders who are standing so. But it's also tears of joy, and I ride on your words, dear Wendy. You know, there is that it is so. So I take what's in it. It's like being in the center of a great river of life. And I feel that all of us in our own way here, you know, are certainly feeling that. But there is so much goodness in humanity. There is so much yearning that needs to be directed, to create, even if, we can't articulate it. So my prayer is that this great streaming of life that's in the heart of humanity can be directed towards this portal, to the very lungs of the earth there in the forest. A new breath can arise. Not the can, Wendy, it is arising. So may all that is in the depths of our heart, our tears, our joys, fulfill this purpose, and that it is so. And thank you for all you dear hearts that have brought this vase into being. It is extraordinary that it's actually there within the forest. It's amazing. And may it be deeply protected, and may it be deeply, deeply fulfilled. It is so. It is done. It is done. It is done.
In the heart of hearts, may it be so.
Is anyone else feeling to share at this time?
Russell, I would like to share. I'm thinking of this full moon shining brightly on each and every one of us, no matter where we are on the planet right now, and shining that same beautiful white light on this very special vase in the Amazon. I would like to place within that vase an invitation to those people who will be the stewards of other vases, to be buried in places that are a special challenge, like the Amazon. So an invitation from this vase to sister vases and to their stewards, to new places that we will be saying in the future. I can't believe we finally buried a vase here too. And that is my prayer. May it be so.
Any last offerings? And if not, I think we can close with the dedication, Rasul. Okay.
For as long as the earth remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, may these earth treasure vases too remain, to dispel the miseries of the world. Through the merits of this practice, may all beings live in peace and harmony. May there be no more war or conflict, and may all hearts be filled with compassion.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.